GM. Today's lesson, I'm going to go through some common pitfalls that happen to traders as they're on their path from zero to being successful. Came from a question from one of my captains about going from being a novice trader into developing your own process and eventually into becoming a killer, a successful, profitable, consistent trader. And basically, what are the do's and don'ts along the way? Pitfalls. What are the things that trip you up? So I'll go in order, and depending on what stage you're at on your trading journey, you will resonate with some of the things I say. I'm sure that everybody will resonate with at least one thing I say. And then hopefully the idea of this lesson is it's one you should definitely take notes from and keep those notes to hand, because you're not going to listen to this lesson, all the time when you're going through your journey. And this covers multiple years. So I think it's quite good to note down a few of the things I say, because you will run into them. First of all, when you start off as a novice trader, the number one pitfall to look out for is expecting too much too soon. So when you start trading, you think that the reason you don't make money is because you don't know a certain thing, and that once you learn that thing, you'll make money. This is the number one misconception of a new trader, in my opinion. Because, and I was like this too, 100%. And it was actually a really difficult realization. It was a tough pill to swallow when I realized this wasn't true. I thought that the reason I didn't make money when I started was because I didn't know a certain thing, whether it's a price pattern, whether it's a system, whether it's how to manage money, position sizing, risk management, whatever. Excuse me. I thought that the reason why I wasn't making money was a piece of knowledge, right? And in reality, I can teach you a system, I can teach you a price pattern, I can teach you risk management, I can teach you how to position size, I can teach you how to use leverage, I can teach you how to manage your portfolio, all of that. You can teach any one of those individual things, and you can watch a video lesson, and then you can ask me a couple of questions about it, and within 24 hours, you can understand what that thing is. But it won't make you profitable. Not by itself, not for sure. And so the sooner you realize this, the better. Because what I had done was I didn't trade with any kind of process at the beginning. And I kind of fucked around. And then I heard about systematic trading and I read about it. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And it was a nice excuse for all the losses. So I was like, okay. So the past 8 months, I've been trying to trade discretionarily or trade ad hoc based on one bit of information but not consistent with a process, one price pattern or one news article or whatever. And that's why I'm losing. And so when I heard it, I was like, so all I need to do is build a system, follow the system, and I'll make money. And so, of course, the first thing I did was rush in and build a system and start to trade it. And it didn't work like that. And it wasn't because that's not the right thing to do. That's 100% the right thing to do, is to become systematic. But just by following a system, it doesn't guarantee that you will start to make money right away. Because the second thing, right, so that was the first thing, first pitfall of a brand new trader. The second thing that holds people back is a lack of understanding of how to actually develop over time. So how long it takes to do something. Right? And so from trying to go too fast, or from thinking that there was just one thing that was missing, I then realized that there's not just one thing that's missing. I don't just need to learn one thing. And the second thing I realized was the time it's going to take. And after you have the first pitfall, which is being a novice, You then understand about developing your own process. The pitfall you have to overcome then is impatience, right? So first of all, you don't know how to trade, you don't understand it, and then you're given the tools, and you're told, okay, join bootcamp, build your systems, and you'll become successful over time. And you miss the last part. You don't hear about the over time part. You just hear, go to bootcamp, do the things I say, and you'll become a profitable trader. Excuse me. Don't know what's in my throat. And so then you have to come into the part of not knowing the time frame. And this is a tough realization. Because I get questions from people saying, I've been trading for 8 months and it's not working. I've been trading for 3 months and it's not working. I've been trading for 12 months and it's not working. First of all, it's not working is wrong. Because most of the time what people say when they are telling me that something's not working is they're just not rich yet. And that's not the measure of success. So after you've got past the novice stage of thinking that there's only one thing you need to learn, you then get to the part where you realize, okay, I need to have a process, and it's not going to happen in 6 weeks because I write down a plan for it. It's not going to happen in 2 months because I want it to. It's just going to happen whenever it happens, right? And that's where you give up the idea of telling the market when to give you money. Because when I say it like that, you realize how stupid it is, okay? Every new trader, and I was especially guilty of this, every new trader, once they start to learn how to trade and they understand the systems, and I know you've done this because I did it. When you start trading and you don't have any systems, you just make up numbers. You're like, oh, well, I want to make $1 million and I want to do that in 3 years. So I'm going to need to make 100K this year and 300K next year and 600K in the third year. And there's $1 million. And I'm going to break it down by month. So in month 1, I'm going to make this. And it's just numbers. So at that point, you're just telling the market, please give me free money. And of course, it doesn't. Then you learn about systematic trading and you learn about how it's a large number, right? A large series, as many trades as possible, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. If you do that, you will get a more accurate representation of your expected value, your profit and loss, your risk reward, your win rate. This doesn't mean you have to trade hundreds and hundreds of times, but to get accurate data, so everyone in white belt, you know this, your back testing is 100 trades. And so when I first learned about that, I learned that if you do the 100 trades thing, you can say after 100 trades of back testing, you can say this system has a 55% win rate and a 2-to-1 risk reward. And then you can calculate that up and you can see, and you can put it into a trade simulator and you could see how much money you could potentially make. And so that was the very next thing I did. I started to go to the trade calculator, typed in the win rate, typed in the risk reward, spat out the answer, and I was like, holy shit, in just 100 trades, I'm going to turn 10K into 75,000. And I would proceed to try and fast track and shoehorn 100 trades in as quickly as I could. And, of course, I had my exact intention to make exactly 75K from that 10K. And that goes well for about 10 or 20 trades until you realize, no. It's not how live trading works. And it's not how your approach to the market should be. It's completely fine to model things, to use simulations, to get an idea of if they are profitable or not. But please don't use it as a guide to say, wait a minute, all I have to do is be systematic and do 100 trades and do this and do that, and it will make, put in X and it spits out Y. Nope, because that's basically it's not as bad as the first part where I was just saying, I want $1 million with no reasoning. It's not as bad as that, because now you have reasoning, you've got data, it's solid. But it's also still telling the market a specific return to give you. And so the next big realization I came to, and the pitfall I avoided, was to never impose a money-based goal on the market. Don't ever try and tell the market what to give you or what to do. Just don't. Not $1 million, not $100,000, not a 5x, not a 3x. It just doesn't matter. Just don't do it. Take it from me. And it's not because you can't make loads of money. You can make loads of money in the market. That's why we fucking do it. There is no upper limit on the market. It's literally unlimited how much money you could make. But it's not an ATM. You don't just get to withdraw whenever you want. And any time that I ever had a specific dollar amount, it just never worked out like that. So take it from me, don't do it. Set your targets based upon the things that will make you profitable. If you are constantly working and constantly thinking about systems and ideas and building them and refining your knowledge and improving your market knowledge and reading more and learning about the market, reviewing your own trades, doing your journal, improving your execution, trying to figure out how you can reduce your costs, right? By reducing slippage, by using limit orders to reduce fees, by trading coins that are lower unit bias, so there's lower fees because there's lower position size, more volatile coins. All of these little things, trading, psychology, mindset, all of that. If you just focus on improving on all of those, you will become more profitable, because that was what I did. And so one of the biggest breakthroughs, and I'll move on to the next part of this, the process then from going from building your first system and thinking that that's all that's needed, to then realizing that there's a whole host of different things that are required. What I next realized was a lot of the improvement is made in very simple ways, such as execution. And execution is really overlooked. Execution is just your cost of doing business, right? So everyone focuses on, how do I get 2-to-1 risk reward, right? Everyone wants that idea, and I had the same idea because I was like, wait a minute, if I can just get a 50% win rate system, but I can have 2-to-1 risk reward, I can be wrong half the time, and I can still print money, because if I'm right 5 times out of 10, and I make 2 when I'm right, and I lose 1 when I'm wrong, that means I make 10, I lose 5, I'm plus 5 every time I take 10 trades. So I just keep taking trades and keep going and going and going, and then I'll be a fucking gorillionaire. And of course it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen exactly like that, because again, you're just focused on the wrong thing. You're focused on the basic idea, but missing the execution. Because the way that you get 2-to-1 is not just setting up your position tool to have 2-to-1 risk reward. The way you actually get there is, first of all, missing as few trades as possible. Right? So this is not something that's sexy or even very obvious. But if you have a system, you should try and set it up so that you don't miss any trades. And if you do miss them, it's only for valid reasons, such as you're asleep. You have to sleep, and if it's not automated, sleep is fine. That's a valid reason. But if you're awake, find a way to make your process streamlined so that you don't miss trades. That's one part of execution. Second part, super simple but overlooked, lowering your fees. I touched on it earlier. Your cost of doing business. You're a trader, you're a businessman, right? As a trader, you're doing business. It's like your own business. Every time you enter and exit a trade, you're paying a fee to the exchange. That is the cost of doing business. A good business, if you have a business, right? If you've got a copywriting business or a bricks and mortar in real life business, you'll know this. A good businessman who stays in business and grows and builds and becomes a millionaire, they are obsessed about lowering costs. So if you're paying 5% when you could be paying 3%, you must get down to the 3%. That's what you do in business, right? So in the market, if you're paying a fee to get into a trade, you must try and find a way to reduce that. The simplest way in trading, of course, is to religiously use limit orders, not market orders, because they're cheaper. Then you have to factor in your risk management, because for most systems and most traders, you will have to use a stop market order for your stop loss, because you have to get it to actually execute, especially if you're not at the screen. But this is not a talk about entry types and order types. This is about the next realization I had along the way, which was I could greatly improve the expected value of my system by just improving the execution. Execution can take a single trade, right? Execution can take a single trade from being a 1.9 hour winner to a 2-hour winner, or even more. And that might not sound like much, but that can literally take a system from unprofitable to profitable. And if it sounds like hard work, you're in the wrong game, right? Because imagine going through all the struggles of learning how to trade and building systems and finding edge and doing all that, and then overlooking one of the simplest things, which is just keep fees low. And this also, the biggest way this improved me was it made me way more selective about my trades. I didn't flip-flop on my bias as much. I timed my entries better. Because when you're trading Bitcoin, especially, because Bitcoin's the biggest, it's got the highest position size. And when you're trading and scalping Bitcoin on some of these crypto exchanges, which are not cheap, they're expensive fees, and you're trying to take multiple trades per day, and you're realizing, wait a minute, even when I had a winning day, I was paying like 20% of my profits in fees because I was entering and exiting so many times. And I would enter one and I would cut it at break even. But if you enter a trade and then you cut it at break even, it's not a break even because you're paying a fee to get in and a fee to get out. So you're paying the exchange. And it made me much, much, much more selective about my trades. So I refined down the number of systems I used and when I used them. And so that was the part that got me to really thinking like a professional trader, thinking like a businessman. That was when I was really developing my own process. That was when I was becoming my own trader. I wasn't just parroting things that I'd saw online. I wasn't just copying what I thought I should do. I was actually realizing, wait a minute, this is my trading. This is how I trade. And here's the problems with execution. Only I can fix this. I can't go on YouTube and find a reason, right? Even, and like for you guys, you can't just go to my lessons and find a lesson on how to improve your execution, because your execution only comes from your own data. So your last 100 trades, go and look at them. How much were you paying in fees? You need to track all this. This is like your bookkeeping, your accounting work as a trader. And then after that, honestly, if you've done all that and you've gotten through those hurdles and those pitfalls, you're well on the way. At that point, it's just time. Then all you do is time, work hard, show up every day, keep going, keep grinding, and you will eventually get there. GM.